Dobrodošli u emisiju 7+. Sa nama večeras dragi i radoviđen gost u našem programu. David PETTIGREW, profesor filozofije i studija o holokaustu i genocidu na Državnom univerzitetu Southern Connecticut. Dobroveče i hvala vam što govorite za Hayat.
Hello.
Profesore PETTIGREW, svaki početak godine jednako je težak za sve one koji su preživjeli strahote 90-ih u Bosni i Hercegovini. Kristijan Schmidt je poništio sporne zaključke Narodne skupštine RS-a vezane na udar na sud i tužilaštvo Bosne i Hercegovine. Zbog čega su onda bonske ovlasti na čekanju kada je u pitanju obilježavanje neustavnog praznika 9. januara?
Well, I agree with the spirit of the question in the sense that I support the High Representative's decision to annul the recent laws in Republika Srpska that seem designed to render the leadership of Republika Srpska immune from prosecution, as though they would be placed above the law. So that would be unacceptable in a society under the rule of law. So annulling that those laws was important. But then again, it raises the question, or leads to the question, is why not employ this tool, the bond powers, to ban something that is traumatizing. It's unconstitutional, but also traumatizing for survivors. Republika Srpska Day, which is essentially a celebration of the genocide, and which would be, a violation of Bosnia's criminal code. So one wonders why the High Representative isn't willing to make that additional step, to take action along those lines, or to take additional steps, for example, to remove all, by virtue of the bond powers, to remove all symbols or murals or plaques glorifying Ratko Mladic, for example, in 2025, when the 30th anniversary of the Srebrenica genocide is being commemorated. So I think it's an important question for the High Representative, why such a selective use of the bond powers.
Zbog čega nema konkretne reakcije pravosuđa na secesionističke prijetnje iz Republike Srpske, koji su direktan udar na ustavno-pravni poredak Bosne i Hercegovine?
This is an important question because I think if the prosecutor's office is established by a law that gives them the duty, the responsibility, empowers them to prosecute violations of Bosnia's criminal code. The threats against the constitutional order is one of the items listed in the criminal code, and also threats against the territorial integrity of the state is seen as a crime under Bosnia's criminal code. So it would be it would seem to be appropriate for the prosecutor to be able to prosecute those who are threatening secession or threatening to separate themselves from state institutions. And I think that the question is, why hasn't it been done yet? But I think it's also possible that it could be just, a lack of resources. But in the law that created the Office of the Prosecutor, there's reference to collaborations with international resources, or international legal teams. So it might be precisely the opportunity to invite international prosecutors to help with the caseload and bring some of the cases that seem logical to someone who's listening to the rhetoric every day. I think just yesterday, there was another statement made by Milorad Dodik saying, our plan is in essence secession, and he said everyone knows it. So this is a consistent theme that could be addressed by the prosecutor's office.
Šta Sjedinjene Američke Države mogu konkretno uraditi kako bi spriječile potencijalno odcepljenje Republike Srpske, koje je postala retorika i alat u rukama Milorada Dodika, predsjednika RS-a?
I think that's a good question. I think sanctions are effective, and they have a gradual effect. But I think it's also important that the United States, especially from Ambassador Murphy, responds, assertively to all threats of secession, and so I think he's been it's very important that he's been taking a constant stance publicly. And then the question of the sanctions is that I think they do have an effect. But it's kind of a more subtle political tool or diplomatic tool, the sanctions. And for example, it could be a matter of shaming someone that could be effective in some cases, impeding upon their finances, they're limiting their finances or prohibiting travel. But I'm thinking of sanctions that have been announced. I didn't know if they're official yet. That's sanctions of a oil company in Serbia. And I thought those sanctions are interesting because they raised awareness about the influence of the Russian Federation in the Serbian businesses. So I thought it's important. Sanctions can be important on different levels. I guess that's my point.
Yeah. Kad ste već spomenuli Srbiju, odnosi RS-a i Srbije sve su jači u posljednje vrijeme, tome svjedočimo svakodnevno. A šta mislite, zbog čega se Srbija na čelu sa Aleksandrom Vučićem toliko miješa unutrašnja pitanja Bosne i Hercegovine?
It seems that it's always been an issue. Those who were proponents of Greater Serbia, let's say Greater Serbia politics, have never given up on this idea. But I think more recently, with the adoption of the resolution on the Srebrenica genocide, there's been this intense response from nationalist politicians, including Dodik and Mr. Vučić, with the, for example, the declaration of the All-Serb Assembly and this sort of programmatic announcement. I think what's possibly new and different and dangerous is this idea that there's a kind of step-by-step approach, which on the one hand emphasizes what they see as the almost sovereign identity of Republika Srpska, and also this idea of unifying all Serbs. So I think it's a new and dangerous problem for Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Da. Često razgovarate sa majkama Srebrenice i ovu priliku ste iskoristili za takav susret, no svjedočimo tome da je negiranje genocida pa svakodnevna pojava u našem javnom prostoru. Kako to spriječiti?
Well, I was meeting with the mothers of Srebrenica to talk about a plan for a program at International University of Sarajevo that would be to raise awareness, educational, and to raise awareness about the Srebrenica genocide as part of the events related to the commemoration in 2025. And I think that, one of the main responses to genocide denial and other provocations is, from a rational point of view, is to have the hope that educating the current and future generations will lead to a raising awareness and eventually prevent genocide denial. And that's why I think that I'm always inspired by even from the meeting today that I had in their office with the dedication of the mothers to educating the public.
Kako zapravo čuvati sjećanje na žrtve? Koliko efekta ima usvojena rezolucija o genocidu u Srebrenici u UN-u?
Well, I think that education is very important, and I believe it's important to remember, to not forget the victims. This is why I've been advocating for memorials at atrocity sites where the mothers are prohibited from having memorials, such as at Pilica Cultural Center and Petković Dam and Branjevo Farm, these are execution sites that were part of the judgments of the Srebrenica genocide, but they're completely prohibited from having memorials there. So this is it's important that somehow I think this would probably be the role of the High Representative to make a comprehensive decision that would allow for memorials at places like Pilica, but also Kravica warehouse. And it's frustrating that with the UN resolution that there are still places in Republika Srpska where in a sense the Srebrenica genocide is being denied because of the prevention of the memorials. But I think there are effects of the adoption of the resolution, and that would be related to a growing number of educational programs that are being planned. And I'm thinking, for example, of the one at the International University of Sarajevo, or I'm speaking in St. Louis in April. So it's part of a series of programs leading up to to July 11th. And also I'll be holding an event at my university in April too. So I think that the adoption of the resolution creates a kind of impetus and umbrella for other commemorations which are important, both for remembering the victims, preserving the truth, and educating the public.
Može li slavljenje i nepriznavanje zločina genocida, a zapravo koji dolazi iz Republike Srpske, zapravo biti pokazatelj da se sličan ili isti zločin može ponovo dogoditi na području Bosne i Hercegovine?
This is a matter of great concern because the celebration of the genocide, or the glorification of the perpetrators, is a sign that the crime could be repeated, in the sense that the perpetrators and their atrocities are being articulated as somehow virtuous. There was something that was important or good that was carried out. I'm thinking, for example, of the mural of Ratko Mladic at the entrance to Kalinovik, which includes the words "town of the hero," and so this is something that is a source of denial, of re-traumatization, and it's a celebration of the genocide, which should be removed. It's just these things celebrating Mladic across Republika Srpska should be removed systematically, and this would be the year to do it, because the celebration of the genocide suggests that it was somehow an appropriate act. I'm thinking of another poster that was in Srebrenica a few years ago with an image of Mladic that's called July 11th, like Liberation Day. So this is a kind of a preposterous insult to the memory of the victims.
Koliko je zapravo važna podrška Sjedinjenih Američkih Država i međunarodne zajednice majkama Srebrenice i koliko ona danas jaka?
I think that there's strong support for the mothers of Srebrenica from the international community. And it's important because in many ways they're the heart and soul of the commemoration. We wouldn't have the Srebrenica Memorial Center, probably wouldn't have the Srebrenica Memorial Center or the cemetery without the fact that they had advocated for this tirelessly. And when I asked them, you know, in what ways they could be supported, I think that I thought it was a very poignant response, because they said that all of the countries who voted for the adoption of the resolution at the UN should dedicate themselves to including educational programming about the Srebrenica genocide in their curriculum. And there's also it's also important to support the mothers of Srebrenica, for the international community to recognize the need for constitutional reform in Bosnia, because from their perspective, the Dayton Peace Accords, which might have been important at the time to end the conflict and stop the international aggression and genocide, essentially awarded Republika Srpska for a successful genocide by awarding them for almost half of the territory of the country. So I think it's time, again on the occasion of 2025, to reflect on the need for constitutional reform that would, in a sense, either eliminate or rename entities and simplify the Constitution. So I think this is the kind of support that would support the mothers. There's also as I understand it, there's going to be a very important memorial established for the Srebrenica genocide at the UN, which I think is an extraordinary achievement of the mothers and of our Ambassador Lagunja to create this new memorial at the UN. So because it's a location that's frequented by people from around the world, and so now when they go to the UN, one of the first things they'll see and learn about will be the Srebrenica genocide. I think that's extraordinary. So that's important support. But I was saying in another way that I'm thinking about it, as we're talking about this, is that we can never support them enough. So we have to keep that in mind, that there's a debt that we have to continually respond and work for the truth, telling the truth about the Srebrenica genocide.
Profesore PETTIGREW, često komentarišete i kritikujete rad visokog predstavnika u Bosni i Hercegovini Kristijana Šmica. Koliko zapravo OHR radi na sprječavanju podrivanja državnosti Bosne i Hercegovine i na jačanju demokratske Bosne i Hercegovine?
This is a question of the concerns I had, which I really expressed only recently, about the inaction of the High Representative in relation to important elements of transitional justice. One we've spoken about already, which would involve the ensuring memorialization, developing a culture of memorialization for the victims. Another would be prosecuting genocide denial, stopping the glorification of war criminals. Another would be implementing the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights and condemning perhaps more harshly the declaration of the All-Serb Assembly. So I think all of these are areas in which more action is needed to send a message to the nationalist politicians to try to change, in a sense, change. Transitional justice would be about changing the culture for the future and for the next generation. So that's why I think that we need to not to be silent on this, to raise our voices and call for the High Representative's intervention, because there are so many areas where the stalemate produced by the Dayton Peace Accords prevents, you could say, logical action. We were speaking earlier about prosecuting threats against the Constitution and against the territorial integrity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So someone has to take action. That's the position of the High Representative.
Dosta je tema o kojima želimo razgovarati danas. Međutim, prije nego što nastavimo dalje, u nastavku kratki reklamni predah.
Odabirom ponuđenih opcija pogledajte nastavak ove priče ili odaberite novi video.